Hi guys, welcome to this video. I want to go over a recent case involving the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and really just for one reason, and that is to show how you have to plead these or what you need to say in the complaint. And this is a case out of Georgia from earlier this year, and this involves a motion to dismiss. And in a motion to dismiss, the defendant's saying, look, take everything that the plaintiff properly alleges as true, we still win. Throw the case out. And by the way, this is from Google Scholar, and I'll put this link into the description of the video so that you can read this case yourself. And Google Scholar is a great tool, and I'll probably do a separate video on that. But look here at what's called the standard of review. So this is where the court says, all right, these are the rules of how I interpret a motion to dismiss. And it says it tests the sufficiency of the allegations. And so you have to plead or allege in your lawsuit sufficient factual matter to state a claim that's plausible on its face. And then the court says, look, if it's just kind of what's called threadbare recitals, or you're just making a conclusion, the court doesn't necessarily have to give that any weight. And so the background of this is that I think this involves some medical debt, and the plaintiff sued multiple companies or defendants and said, all you guys are debt collectors under the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And so the court says, here are the three elements of a case against an abusive debt collector. And some courts will make this 4 elements, but it's all about the same thing. Number 1 has to be consumer debt, so basically not business debt. Number 2 is the person you're suing or the company you're suing has to be considered a debt collector. And then number 3, there has to be an actual violation of the law. So you first start off say, look, I'm a consumer, this is consumer debt. If you get past that, the next step is who you sued has to be a debt collector. If they're not, nothing else matters. And then finally, you have to show they violated the law. Well, in this, it says that really what's at issue here is the second and third element. So number 2, second element is you're a debt collector. Number 3, you violated the law. And the court really just looks at that second element. And this has to do with whether a particular defendant, this defendant Johnson, is a debt collector. And the court points out that you just didn't make the proper allegation. Now, I haven't gone back and read the complaint. I don't know if the judge is right in this. I'm just telling you what this case says. And so here's the definition of a debt collector under the FDCPA. So it's using interstate commerce. That would be things like telephone, mail, email. The principal purpose of your business is a collection of debt. Okay, and so then the court breaks it down and says, here are 3 ways to look at it. So we've got number 1 here, use interstate commerce for business principal purpose, collect the debt. Number 2, use the mail. Or 3, you regularly collect or attempt to collect debts owed to another. And so the court says, look, if you're bringing a lawsuit, you've got to allege each of the defendants falls into at least one of these categories in order to be a debt collector and survive this motion to dismiss. And the court says that the plaintiff failed to allege the facts for this defendant Johnson. So by way of contrast, the court says, look, defendant Davis, you said they regularly attempt to collect debt. Defendant French here used the mail. But then it says the sole allegation against defendant Johnson is that Johnson's a debt collector. And the court says, look, that's a conclusion. That's not a fact. And so the court throws the case out because of that. And so this is very important. If you're bringing a lawsuit, and this may be more for the lawyers that are watching this, but if you're bringing a lawsuit, you've got to make sure you cover those elements. Sometimes, be honest, we get so involved in number 3, which is, let me show how they violated the law, how they violated the FDCPA. And that's great, but we have to back it up and say, So think about it this way. The foundation is it's a consumer debt. So usually we've got that, credit card debt's not business, it's a home loan, it's medical bills. So we've got that foundation. The next step is to prove that the debt collector is actually a debt collector in the law. Sometimes we skip over that because we want to get to sort of the good stuff, which is here's how they lied, here's how they were abusive over the phone, whatever it might be. In this case, as a reminder, make sure we don't skip that middle section, that element number 2, which is that the debt collector is actually a debt collector. So hope that this is helpful to you, and I'll continue to go through some of these recent case decisions or even older decisions if they have some importance. And appreciate you watching this video. If you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.